We'll just go with it.
We're going to go with it. You ready to go with it?
Let's go.
Let's go.
What?
That was priceless.
Oh,
that was crickets.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my
That's what we should do
God.
from now on.
Oh, you have to get that. That's priceless. And hit it.
All right.
Welcome to the Artie's Attic Warehouse 13 fan cast, where a steampunk girl, a lifelong sci-fi fan, and a rocket scientist chat about the popular 2009 sci-fi series. There's never a dull moment with the agents dedicated to protect humankind from unexplained phenomena that manifest their powers in special objects. And there's all those friendships and relationships along the way. Grab a cookie while you can. Hope you don't smell fudge. Gear up with your Farnsworth, Tesla, and Neutralizer, and let's have some fun by snagging it, bagging it, and tagging it.
Welcome back to Artie's Attic. We're a Warehouse 13 fan cast. I'm the Warehouse 13 janitor. I don't do funny. My name is SP.
And you want all your receipts.
And introducing Artie's Attic, lead agent and historian who somehow can get an 18-inch machete through airport security. It's Agent Shannon.
Very persuasive. Very persuasive. Talented, even. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Well, you
What's
got
up,
to see
guys?
the sunrise, in the cockpit.
Yeah, we'll talk about that whole jet scene later. And also returning is the warehouse agent who earned 22 college degrees in 16 years and still managed to break the Holy Grail on her first day on the job. It's Agent Carolyn.
It repaired itself. It was the jetpack's fault. It wasn't mine. And 4 of my degrees are in Egyptology. I want you to know.
Just 4.
Just 4.
Okay.
Don't ask me how I afforded all of that.
Well, obviously, Mom is very rich.
I have to be.
Yes. We are recording a bonus podcast episode after our Warehouse 13 series discussion concluded with a film that came out in 2004, 5 years before Warehouse 13 debuted on the Sci-Fi Network. I'm referring to the TNT production, The Librarian's Quest for the Spear. The Amazon Prime Video description reads, Flynn starts a new job as a librarian, but discovers it is no ordinary library. One of the artifacts is stolen by an evil brotherhood, and Flynn is thrown in the deep end to save the world. Shannon, do you think the librarian's guardian has to do paperwork?
No, I think there are artifacts that do that for you.
Oh.
I don't know. I haven't seen them, I would imagine. So, a couple things. The very last line that they talked about before they got on the motorcycle and took off, she said that something about H.G. Wells. I'm like, ha ha.
I know. I heard that connection.
If you needed to hook me, there you are. There you are.
There you go. You think it's...
Plus time traveling ninjas. I mean, how could you not?
I could say it was very campy for me. The first 20 minutes, I'm like, this ain't gonna do it. But
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, there's Bob Newhart. I know that face. Let's see. I know the other woman too, but I can't place the woman.
She has been in quite a bit. Her name is Sonia Walger.
Walger.
Easy
And then
for
the
you to
mom.
say.
His mom is Olympia Dukakis,
Yep.
and I only remember her from Still Magnolia. So
She was in
Still Magnolias.
Yep, she's in a lot. We'll talk about all their filmographies
I
later.
love that movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, it took me about 20 or so minutes before my, okay, I'll continue watching.
The opening scene was pretty hokey. Matter of fact, I will say overall, the production value, it took me a while to realize this was a made-for-TV movie versus an actual movie, by the way. The production value isn't as high as what I'm used to today, even with streaming services and B movies. So I think if it was redone today, it would have been much, much better on like a streaming service. Now, we might have a debate about that based on the new series that's out, but
Oh, so good.
yeah. But the production value to me was a little less, so I had to reset my expectations because I was expecting a movie, and I got basically a Hallmark
You got a
TV
campy.
movie. Yeah.
I loved it. I have seen it. I've seen this movie. I've seen this movie so many times. I can't recite lines, but I love, love, love this movie. Yes, it's campy. Yes, it's cheesy. And there are so many bubble guppy moments, but it's so good that you just like, you excuse them because it's so funny and it's so good. And
I think the funny and the good are subjective, but it's okay
True.
to think it is good.
I have the whole Shannon squeal moment when I think about it. I'm like, love the librarians.
You could, being someone who's never watched any of them before. Now, I have seen clips. I know that Rebecca from Strange New Worlds is in,
Mhm.
right?
She's in the
Is
series.
Noah Wiley all through it? Or
He's in the
just
first
these
3 movies, and then he does come onto some of the series, not all of the series,
Which,
but you do see him.
who, Noah?
Yes,
Noah Wiley, he's in 23 of the episodes. Yeah.
yes. He's not in all of them.
No.
But he is in a lot of them.
Yes.
But he is in all 3 of the movies, and you learn more. It's kind of like, like the first season of a series. You learn more about it, and it gets better as you keep watching the movies. They get a little
the
less
beginning of
campy.
Warehouse 13. You didn't. First couple episodes, you don't like Micah for a reason.
Yeah.
Like, you got to get used to it.
Yeah.
I could definitely tell that Warehouse 13, maybe not all, but at least some of the ideas probably came from here.
Mhm.
The same premise is the same, right? So you have a location that they all send things and collect things and put them in it. And it's a secret society that no one is supposed to know about except for a very few.
Mhm.
So tell anybody, you're going to die. All these magic components to it.
By
like
Excalibur.
the Holy Grail or the Spear of Destiny. I'm like, okay, so Warehouse 13.
They do explain the
Very
magic,
much like it.
by the way. They
They
explain
do
the magic.
explain the magic, and it was a really good way to explain the magic.
Basically as science that we don't have an explanation for yet. I thought that was a decent explanation.
I love some of the explanations, like when he's walking by Pandora's box and it's screaming at him, and he walks by and he looks at it and he opens it, and all of a sudden something screams out at him. And Bob Newhart's character, he just walks over and calmly shuts it, and he says, that box was given to a gal named Pandora, and yeah, she opened it, and evil was in the world for about 1,000 years. So best not to open that again.
He was very deadpan about it. He's like, yeah, don't do that.
He did open it. I mean, if you open it, you can't close it. And they closed. I'm like, that actually, I get what they were going to in the moment, but you opened it.
Kind of defeats the
Pandora's
purpose.
box is
Yeah,
open.
they all should be going out, just like on Warehouse 13.
Yeah, well, and I wonder how yes, the library houses said things, but do they not have to neutralize things? Because they don't have to it didn't look like you had to neutralize things or because at the end, the spear went towards, Noah's character and
Flynn,
thank you. Flynn, and just attached to him, and he just, he didn't have to do anything with it. So it's kind of, I think that's why I probably loved the Warehouse 13 so much, was because I loved these movies and I loved the premise of the library and how in Warehouse 13, they didn't call it magic, but it is kind of magic, in both places, but it's science you just don't understand. Artifacts get imbued with certain powers.
Right.
Or in this one, they have magical powers. Like, I love the one where he's like looking at the snake and there's an apple in the pillow and he's looking at it like, is that the actual apple from Adam and Eve? And Jensen picks it up and he's like, bites it. He's like, no, That's an apple I left there last week, and he puts it back down.
To rot?
See, you can definitely tell that it's got components, right? So maybe the library doesn't tell you how the items came to be, or like you said, the magic. So I would imagine 4 years, was it? When was this? 2004?
2004.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 5 years later, Warehouse
Yep.
13 came out.
Yep.
So Warehouse 13 has went a step further, and now they're answering those, telling you about how an object came to be imbued with the powers. So I think that they were maybe going out of the way to explain. I just, things like this, you just know somebody's sitting back in their living room watching something. You know, maybe we could go a step further. I got this great idea for a television show. And then next thing you know, we have Warehouse 13. But I remember hearing about the librarians after, and it might have been you that told me after Warehouse 13. You're like, you should try this.
Well, that was the TV show. Yeah.
Right. And then I'm like,
I think you would actually like the TV show too. It's kind of the same thing as Warehouse 13, but there's a lot more people that are going through
less campy than the movies? And
Yes.
is the other two movies like this?
No,
Campy.
not that I remember them being this campy, but I don't know. I haven't seen them for a while, but I mean, this is my kind of movie, like this kind of campy things. I like these kinds of things because a lot of it to me is like slapstick kind of humor, and you have to pay attention to it. Like,
Right.
Did you notice when they're going down to the library the first time, the elevator that they're going down to, the door sound was the Star Trek classic elevator door sound plus the light?
I didn't hear that.
When it opened, it made the elevator sound to Star Trek, the first one, the classic version. You heard it? And I was like, I heard it. I was like,
busy focusing.
what?
I didn't hear it, but I was too busy focusing on the similarities to Stargate. Like the serviceman in the elevator holding the guns. I'm like, well, is this a secret compartment like Cheyenne Mountain? I'm like, what? So I was thinking Stargate, but I didn't think of Star Trek.
Well, it's good. That was the sound. That's what made me think of it. And when they're unlocking it, isn't this how they lock up like the nuclear weapons? He's like, well, where do you think they got the idea?
And before that, it was making me think of Mary Poppins, how all the people were on the winding staircase waiting to get interviewed.
Yeah.
I'm like, I would have said F it a long time ago. Ain't no job worth me standing in line for. But it reminded me of the part in Mary Poppins when they're looking for a nanny and they have all these little women show up, and then all of a sudden it's the position's filled, and she opens the door and she goes, the position's been filled, and there's just Andrew the dog and all the other ones that's been flown away. I have a stuffed schnauzer named Andrew for that reason. Just saying.
I mean, the whole
Mary
interview
Poppins.
was really funny, especially because Charlene, I think is her character,
Charlene.
played by Jane Curtin. Anyway, she is actually very famous comedian, right? She has been in a lot of stuff that we can go through later. I just don't want to slow down the conversation right now. But when she said, "Don't be funny," I don't do funny, I laughed out loud because
right?
she has some awards for being funny and has been involved in the very first Saturday Night Live cast.
I remember her being on Laugh-In. She was on Laugh-In.
Yeah, but she was just so cruel as you see these people coming down and they're crying and saying, "They've never been treated like that."
It cracked
I've never
me
been
up,
so
and she's
rude
like,
in my life.
where do you think you're going, right? So he's like, me? Yes, you come in here. And then she gets in here, and instead of her being right in front of him like you expect her to be, she's like in the room, but further back. I'm like, how does she see you walking away?
Because it's the library.
What?
Because it's the library.
Beyond no wall. Maybe it's the camera system.
I'm pretty sure he was targeted from the very get-go. Like they
Yes.
wanted him from the beginning, and that's why they sent him the magical invitation,
That
very
was cool.
Harry Potter-ish.
Harry Potter,
Yeah.
Yes.
Mary Poppins, ripping it up, blowing up. Yeah, Mary Poppins.
Just
Mhm.
That's what I'm
no owl, but yeah.
It was funny when he was trying to walk towards the chair and it kept creaking, and he's like, trying not to creak. And she's, well, what makes you think you could be the librarian? He's like, well, I know the Dewey Decimal System, and starts listing off. She's like, anybody can tell me that. What makes you think you should be the librarian? And then he just like closes everything up, goes up next to her, starts telling her all these things about herself. And she just kind of looks at him like, well, that would work. Yep.
It reminded me of Monk. That show Monk. How he can just like
yes,
read everything about you.
Or when he was talking about the Guardian and he like, how did he know her favorite stone is jade? I mean, where was that on her? How could he read that on her?
I thought that was out of all the campy, right? Out of all the camp that you have in this movie, the most unbelievable moment came when all of a sudden she wants to sleep with him. I'm like,
right,
girl, what?
after the constant like, don't touch me, and you did not just slap my hand kind of like actions, and all of a sudden she's in there. I ordered champagne, and I'm sure you've read books on this.
And didn't the bad guy remind you of McPherson?
Yeah, a little bit. Kyle MacLachlan. He's actually pretty famous.
It's the jaw.
So if you don't
It's
know Kyle, he's really famous himself. He's got 90 acting credits since 1980, including the 1984 film Dune.
Yep.
That's where I've seen
No, you've seen him in a lot more than that. 30 episodes of Twin Peaks as Special Agent Dale Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
He was in the 1994 film The Flintstones. He was in the 1994 film Roswell, the film Roswell. He was in 23 episodes of Sex and the City as Trey McDonald.
Yep.
He did this film 2004. He did the 2008 film The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants 2. He played Bill Keir in that. 96 episodes of Desperate Housewives as Orson
I'm still waiting
Hodge.
for you to mention something I watched him in.
7 episodes of How I Met Your Mother as the captain. 4 episodes of The Good Wife. 13 episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as Calvin Zobo.
Oh, yeah.
That has to be it.
He was in there.
All the things you've mentioned so far, I'm like, okay, I did watch most of that.
He played or voiced the dad in the 2015 movie Inside Out.
He did?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I didn't recognize that voice. I guess he did. That's funny.
He did 18 episodes of the 2017 version of Twin Peaks.
Of course.
2 episodes of Fallout, which is coming up on a season 2 here shortly, but he played the overseer Hank McLean. He played the dad in that. And he voiced the dad again in the 2024 movie Inside Out 2. That's just some of his 90 credits.
All right. Well, I guess it's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as it is, because I'm like, I've watched
probably
any of that stuff.
Probably Dune.
Yeah.
But yeah, he...
the original Dune, right?
Yeah, the original.
Yeah,
well,
the original.
I don't know if it is the original. There's been so
Like
many
the
versions.
80s and 90s version?
The one that we would know.
It was the one with Patrick Stewart.
The Patrick Stewart one.
I don't even remember Patrick Stewart in it.
Oh, yeah.
He was
he's got a
Duncan.
pretty awful acting scene in there where he's in pain and he's doing his Shakespearean thing. And you're like, oh my God. He's still bald, though. Still bald.
Side note, I had explained to Sasha what the 4 lights mean the other day.
Oh, yeah?
There are 4 lights.
She had put the phone, we were FaceTiming, and she put her phone down, and she's got the can lights, right? I can't stand them. They hurt my eyes, but she has them in her house. But showing me there was 2 lights. And as she got done, she goes, I said, by the way, there are 4 lights. And she's like, the hell are you talking about? So I had to go into the whole thing. I'm like, no, there's not just 2. Like, you want me to know. There's 4. She goes, do you have a fever? You okay? I'll explain it to you later.
We need to watch the episode. There are 4 lights.
I wonder what season that is. It's like 5, maybe?
Don't know.
Season 5 or 6, somewhere in there.
Yeah,
you could just find that spot on YouTube
you could
and
type
watch
in
it.
that. I love how you could just Google it and it'll pop right here.
4 lights. Yeah.
Yep.
Very
Mhm.
famous
Yeah.
line. Famous line.
He was squished like a grape at the end, though.
He was. And I watched this whole thing 3 times. And I watched the spear like you were talking about. And it did wiggle out from underneath there like at the last moment as it was coming. Like it must have, as the apex, whatever they were calling, as that hit his hand, it must have jarred it loose. And in the time period that his hand went to the ground underneath this very heavy apex, the thing squiggles out from underneath and goes right to, you know what I was thinking is if it's an artifact, they are drawn to librarians, and they both were librarians.
That's true. They both were librarians.
It's just picking the better one. It's just picking the less evil one.
Just picking the real
evil
librarian.
Well,
only a real librarian would know the language of the birds.
Did anybody get the feeling at the end of this movie that him and Pete would have got along just fine?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think, that and the Guardian, I think, would have gotten along with Pete.
Because he was touching the Guardian. I've got a different take on the Guardian. But this film, this film had a lot of vibes for me of Warehouse 13, but also Raiders of the Lost Ark, National Treasure, Sahara.
Yep.
And Noah Wiley.
The dude's face.
Yeah. Noah Wiley was playing Daniel Jackson, basically, in this whole thing. Like he's this educated dweeb that's never really been out there.
Get your own nerd.
The geek, the nerd.
Get your own nerd.
And he is.
There was a guy that was in this movie that was in the National Treasure as he was chasing the blonde woman. Remember she's hide behind the counter, and she's like, "I'm just trying to hide from my ex-husband." And the woman goes, "Honey, you could stay down there all day long. I'd be hiding if I was married to you." That guy, he was one of the bad guys that was with Kelly Hu, which is also in Warehouse 13.
Yep, she's been in a lot. So the guy you're talking about, his name is David Dayan Fisher.
Was he the bald guy?
Played Rhodes.
Yes.
He has 38 acting credits, mostly like action, not talking or whatever, but 38 acting credits since 1998, including the 2004 film National Treasure. He played Shaw.
Yeah.
This film, he was actually in an episode of Stargate Atlantis, season 3, episode 15, Baden. Only one, though. So like a red shirt, basically, or an alien or whatever. And then he was in one episode of Burn Notice. So he's been in a little bit of stuff outside of this.
I think he was in NCIS too. I think he was like a CIA agent.
Yeah. I just did not.
He's got the face.
Did not.
I think that's where I remembered his face from.
Kelly Hu was so cute and young in this.
Oh my God. It was cracking me up. She's like, especially when they're on the helicopter and they're headed to Shangri-La.
And
she's like sitting next to him and like, I'm sitting next to the librarian and like gushing over him. And he's like, what the frack? It was hilarious. She's like, don't underestimate him. And then she says, we can be together. And I'm like, no. And then his Guardian comes back out and she's like, get your own nerd.
But you're right. Now that I think about what you just said, he was Daniel Jackson the entire time. A geek, didn't really know how to deal with women, didn't really have a life outside of his books, his writing. He had no one coming to watch his autographs. But yeah, he would have been the one that had 22 degrees and
so
sticking around just for the hell of it.
Let's talk a little bit about Noah Wiley, because to know Noah Wiley, you get to know where this character is as Noah Wiley is portraying him a little bit. So he's best known from his role on ER, but he does have 52 acting credits going back to 1984. He was in the 1992 movie A Few Good Men. And just think of the people he played against in that. He was Corporal Jeffrey Barnes in there. So not a main character, but a main focus. And so he had interactions with people like Jack Nicholson and Tom Cruise and Demi Moore and those caliber of actors, right? He was in one episode of Friends, 2 episodes of Sesame Street. I just throw that in there to say,
I didn't know that. That's
to get
funny.
invited to Sesame Street is pretty cool,
That's
right?
cool.
If you don't remember, he played Steve Jobs in the 1990 movie Pirates of the Silicon Valley.
He did. I never saw the movie, but I remember hearing that he did play that.
Yeah. He did an episode of Saturday Night Live. That's actually a big deal to be invited as the main guest of Saturday Night Live. So he did
That's
one
cool.
of those. He did these 3 movies of the Librarians. He did the film W. And politics aside, he was in the 2008
As in
film W.
W.
What?
Yeah.
W.
Yeah, exactly.
W.
President
W.
W. President Bush, the second one.
Well, it's because it's the senior or junior. It's junior, right?
Yeah. HW
Yeah,
was the
because-
senior. Yeah.
Yeah, because George Bush, I'm telling you, he has that thick Texas Southern drawl, and it's W.
And it's
Yeah.
W.
A W.
He did not play W. He played Don Evans, but he was in the movie, right? So that's a big deal. 254 episodes of ER as Dr. John
Yes.
Carter. That's what he's
Yep.
known for. The series started in 1994, and that's really where he came from. And then all these opportunities came out. So
Mhm.
he
So
was
he
in the
did
middle.
ER before this.
Yeah, he was in the
Yes.
middle of ER as this was going on. So when he approached Charlene and he was talking about mono and was able to go through those physical symptoms, that's from his training as Dr. John Carter on ER, the actor. He
Can you
wasn't a
imagine?
real doctor, but
You're right.
Can you imagine having a role like you have in ER where you have to be, I mean, it that's a big role. And in a show that had many seasons, right? And to have all that
big-time
dialogue that
actors.
you have.
Mhm.
Right. Big time actors that were guest stars, all the dialogue you had to do. So you're looking at what can I be doing other than this gigantic role that I have? Let's go pretend over on the Librarians. So, I mean, just there's a side gig for him.
Yeah, but he's trying to reach out and go beyond his character, which manifested itself in the very next series that I have on the list, Falling Skies. 52 episodes of Falling
That
Skies.
was so good. And he was so good in that series too.
Where have
so
I been when
good.
y'all watched all these shows? I haven't seen any of them. I've heard them. I've
You
heard the
should,
names.
you know what? We should have been like, you should live closer to me. We could have watched these things together.
I'm going to binge watch. But if I have to move, it's going to go the opposite direction. Just letting you know.
I would hope so. Otherwise, I might get Sasha complaining at me.
I mean, if I had to move away from Texas, I'm pretty sure she's not going to let me go west. It's just not going to happen.
Don't worry, Sasha. Don't worry.
So Falling Skies, I think that was another one that was on TNT. He
I'm pretty
played
sure.
Professor
Mhm.
Tom Mason and ultimately became president. It was an
Mhm.
alien invasion. I had a love-hate relationship to that because it got kind of crazy towards the end. But
Yes.
I mean, it was a decent series.
It was. I watched it mainly because Noah Wiley was in it, because I've watched pretty much everything he's been in.
and
almost.
a lot of good actors were in that as well. But
Yes, they were.
I won't say he was the main character, but he was definitely one of the main characters, like the top 4 or 5 characters in there.
Most definitely.
Because it was an ensemble cast. It wasn't just
Mhm.
like this, where it was like he's the lead, obviously. But anyway, also 23 episodes of The Librarians, and then 15 episodes of The Pit. So back to being a doctor, and then 35 episodes of Leverage Redemption. So you
Which
can
is
see-
so good. And I'm watching it. I'm watching the next season of Leverage Redemption right now, and he's on it. And so good. So
You know,
good.
I would imagine that maybe just because I don't have regular TV network.
Leverage Redemption is on Amazon.
and The
I've
Pit
never
is
heard of
this
on, I want to
Never
say
heard of it.
Prime.
It's on
What
Prime.
was it?
Amazon Prime has Leverage and Leverage Redemption.
I would The
Both,
Pit.
both by. Oh, I never watched Pit. Oh no,
I
Pit.
never heard of
think
either one
is
of them.
on.
Paramount, maybe?
No,
I
it's on
have
one of the
heard of
ones that I
Fallen
don't
Skies.
have. I think it's like Showtime or HBO or
But I
something
never
like that.
watched it. I just don't watch a lot of TV anymore.
Well, add to your list Leverage, Leverage Redemption, and
So it's 2 different shows.
Yeah.
yes, it starts with Leverage and then goes to Leverage Redemption.
Is Leverage like a cop show? For some reason, I want to say I've heard of that.
No, it's more like it's more like a bunch of people who could do bad things but end up doing good things with their bad powers. So there's like they take out evil in the world by being bamboozling them. So like people that they have like somebody who is the bronze, somebody who is the thief who can get into whatever, somebody who is the smart guy, and then the grifter. So, and then there is a guy who
a team of Ocean's 11 people.
Yes, but what they end up doing is like they find like people that end up, it ends up being a guy who is doing an evil thing and taking people's money, and then they swindle him out of all of his money and
nice. Okay.
End up getting him arrested. So it's actually really fun to watch. It's kind of like Ocean's 11, but it's
Ocean's
really
8,
good.
11, 12, 13, you pick.
Whatever. Ocean something. But it's really well done. They're all done by Dean Devlin. So
you just said the word grifter. And I can't remember the name, and I know we've talked about it before, but one of the first series that Jamie Murray was ever on, can't remember it, but she was a grifter. That was her character. That was the characters. They all did the same thing. They would all swindle people out of things.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna say it in a minute, SP, and I'm gonna go. That's it.
Just looking it up. That's not Castlevania.
Yeah, that's her.
Well, I know, but that's not the series that you're talking about. You are talking about Casualty, not Botch. Dexter? Are you talking about Dexter?
Before Dexter.
Before Dexter.
It was her first thing ever. Well, maybe her second thing. She did a soap opera.
Well, the first thing was Saturday Night Thriller. The second thing was Casualty. Then The Bill. Doctors and Nurses, Animal, Love Soup, Poirot, Botched, and then Dexter.
No, it's before those things. She was like 23 years old. I have it here in a box set. I just can't think of the name of it anymore. Her character's name was Stacy, Staci.
Okay, that's easier to look up. Hold on a second.
That's
Jesse?
Stacy.
The Outpost?
The Outpost? No, that's the other one she needs to watch, though.
Right.
It's all on his app called Electric now.
I am not seeing a single character name in her IMDb, in her filmography, named Stacy. That's not to say you're not right. There's Sonia, but that was only one episode.
Yeah, I don't know her filmography.
10 episodes in... I think I know what you're talking about, but Hustle? Hustle,
yes.
Hustle was after Dexter.
Yeah. Yep.
Was it?
Yeah, Hustle was, 2004 to 2012. So that's her filmography is screwed up.
I was going to say, that was before. Hustle.
Yeah.
That's
Hustle.
what they did. They were all the characters there were grifters. And they would swindle them out of, like, they would play the long game and they would swindle them out of people that were doing bad things. They would do the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so you would like those shows, and they're all on Amazon, so you can watch them if you have Amazon. So you can watch them over the.
Back to Noah Wiley. I'm trying to give his progression and everything, as well as his progression on screen as an actor. Behind the camera, he's also progressing. He had 3 writing credits since the 2016. 2 episodes of Librarians, 1 episode of Leverage Redemption, and 2 episodes of The Pit. Seems like a secondary thing as I look at all of his stuff that he dabbled in writing, but it's not a main thing. But he did do some episodes.
Yeah.
He's got 3 directing credits since 2015, 1 episodes of Falling Skies, 5 episodes of The Librarians, and then 5 episodes of Leverage Redemption.
That he's directing?
That was his directing credits. He has 8 producing credits since 1997. So he's transitioned from on-screen to behind the scenes as an executive producer. So the 3 executive producer credits that I have listed out of his 8, 31 episodes of The Librarians, he was executive producer for that.
Yeah.
15 episodes of The Pit. And then he's also an executive producer of The Librarians, The Next Chapter. So I think we're going to see a lot more of Noah Wiley because he's still relatively young as an executive producer. And he's pulling from all of this great experience that he's had with all these actors and all these executive producers And people like Dean Devlin, who has an amazing filmography as well, by the way.
Yes.
And Noah Wyle is just in the middle of greatness, and unless something happens.
Dean Devlin, where have I've seen that name before last night. I
He's the
recognize it, but
producer.
I can't remember where.
He's the
but where
producer.
else has he
He's the
been on?
producer of this show. You can find pretty much most of everything that he has done on he's got an app called Electric Now. You can stream it online. You can stream it on your app, your phone. You can stream it on your iPad.
Did he do any Stargate?
Yes. So let me go through his stuff.
Okay.
Wait for it.
As the executive producer, he has 40
Sanctuary.
producing credits starting in 1994, including a producer on the 1994 movie Stargate.
Oh, so that's where a lot of his ideas probably came from for the library.
He was one of the original ones that got the movie with Kurt Russell going.
That's correct. But wait for
And
it. There's
then-
more. There's more. The 1996 movie Independence Day, he was producer for that.
I did not know that.
He was a
No wonder I
producer on the 1998 movie Godzilla.
Never.
He was a producer on the 2000 movie The Patriot.
Ooh,
Did he do
that was good.
Daniel?
Really?
Yes. The first notable executive producer position was 40 episodes of Godzilla the series, which I don't remember at all, but
I don't remember the series.
yeah, that was somewhere between 2000 and 2004. He did the executive producer of this. He was a producer on the 2006 movie Flyboys. He also was the executive producer on the next two Librarian movies. 76 episodes of Leverage. The 2016 movie Independence Day Resurgence. He came back as a producer for that. 35 episodes of The Librarians, executive producer. 49 episodes of The Outpost.
Yeah,
He was
that so
executive
good.
producer on that.
That was so good.
Yeah. 21 episodes, and we've talked about this before. I know nothing about it, but I keep seeing names associated with it that I'm like, this is worth watching. The Ark.
It was on Sci-Fi. I unfortunately did not watch it. I did see him post about it a lot, but I did not watch it because it was on Sci-Fi. I'm sorry, Dean, but I didn't want to
Yeah,
watch something
same
on
here.
Kind of burned out on
Sci-Fi.
Sci-Fi.
We have a history with Sci-Fi and their cancellation of our favorite things. So I'm sorry, I did not watch it.
But now that we know a lot about it, it might be worth a watch because I haven't watched it for the very same reason. I didn't want to watch it because it was on Sci-Fi. Okay, so executive producer both on Leverage Redemption and The Librarians, the next chapter, along with Noah Wyle. And then since we're going to talk about Dean again, he has 26 writing credits and 25 acting credits. 25 acting credits. We'll talk about that in the
Ooh.
future. Yes.
I think I've seen him on a couple of things. I remember The Librarians, the TV show, was actually filmed in Portland. And when, unfortunately, it got canceled, he sold off a bunch of stuff from there. Really wanted to get some stuff, but yeah, I like the funds. But it was cool that it was filmed here in Portland. Kind of
Portland,
like
Maine.
Grimm.
Portland, Maine.
Oregon. Poophead.
Shannon, I got a question for you.
Sure.
Would you like a pet Excalibur with a mind of its own?
I love Excalibur. He gets more fun in the next couple of movies, too.
I like it better than the snake with his mind of its own.
Yes. Yes.
I like that he could pull it.
What snake was it?
That's a very good question. I think a lot of those things were left to your imagination. And whose jetpack was that? And did you see the unicorn? There was a
Rocketeer.
unicorn. I want a unicorn.
Looking
I
over
work
him
at a place that has a unicorn.
as he was just sitting on the floor because the jetpack had,
know.
crashed into him. The unicorn's like, "You okay there, buddy?"
Just come check on you. And he's
Like,
just saying,
oh,
like,
man.
yeah. And the horse is like, licking my head.
I did find it funny when he went home to tell his mom that he finally had a job. And he's like, yeah, it's an amazing place to work. I'm really going to love it. And he's like, I'm a librarian. And you just see her face like, all of those degrees and you're shelving books. He's like, oh, Mom, there's so much more. But as he touches his neck, I can't tell you.
Yes. So even
Oh,
in real
that could-
life, there's a difference between like a grade school or a public library and then like the library at the Vatican, the archives at the Vatican or something like that. So, or Congressional Library of Congress.
This library, I want to go see.
Yeah.
Right?
So there are really prestigious librarian positions that
Metropolitan.
pay quite a bit. So I don't think you're going to get that in New York City. But yeah, I did like that when she came in. So Shannon, I have a bunch of questions for Shannon, actually. So I have another question for you.
Let her roll.
Yes. Would a serial killer social worker be a turnoff for you?
Of no doubt. Yes. Not going to make the list
Because she'd be analyzing you the whole time or what?
because she'd kill me.
What? I mean, well, she's a social worker for serial killers.
No, it was convicted homicidal people. Not
Serial killer,
serial-
whatever. Same thing.
almost. They
Yeah,
could
not
just
really
want to kill
attracted
once.
to it. No, it doesn't really do it for me. No.
Okay.
It's just because it doesn't have that zing for you. No, it doesn't do
Mm-mm.
it for you. It's all right. He needed to get out more anyway.
Carolyn, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Did Professor Harris know from the start about this whole plan and the reason that he kicked Flynn out was just to get him out of the way so he wouldn't make trouble during the event?
Absolutely. Because he would have been able to decipher what they were doing because he would have been like, what? Wait, what? I totally think that. Plus, I think he probably just got annoying that he kept coming back and he was like, you need to get out. Go away.
So
I don't think that's a problem because they want money. What's your question, Shannon?
True.
So it was the character of Bob Newhart. I don't remember his name in the show,
Jensen.
but he
Ju-
was
Judson.
what?
I thought it was Jensen.
He was the one that was watching him as he was being fired or kicked out of
Yes. Yes.
that. So
He was up
kind
on
of
the
like
top.
the cigarette smoking man, kind of hiding in the shadows
Mm-hmm.
with less devious plans.
Yeah, he was a little like the Wizard of Oz in this.
Yeah. I loved how he kept popping up on any screen that was available. The screen in
That
the
was funny.
airplane, the screen in the
Hotel room.
hotel as he's drenched in a robe. What? You've never ever seen a guy naked in a robe before? He's like, "What's the problem, Jensen?"
Yeah.
It cracked me up and like, anybody else see that? No.
I do like
Anybody?
that they got
no?
Bob Newhart for it. He's such a soft-spoken man.
His character. Oh my gosh, the deadpanness. And at the end, he's like, "Where's the Marines?" He's like, pulls back his shirt. Semper Fi. You were in the Marines.
So unfortunately, Bob passed away last year, July 18th,
Mhm.
2024. But he did have 45 acting credits, which doesn't sound like a lot in his career that started in 1962. But you might be amazed by some of the stuff that you don't
He had a
know.
whole Bob Newhart show. He had an entire series.
Before that,
Well,
he was
show.
in the 1970 movie Catch-22 as Major Major. So if you've never watched that, that is an iconic movie based on an iconic book of craziness of World War II. And one of the notable characters in that whole thing was Major Major. So that's his name, Major Major. And then he was like a captain and they couldn't stand that. So they made him a major. So Major Major Major. And then his middle name, they dubbed him Major. So it was Major 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 Major. So
If you keep saying it, does
Okay.
he magically appear?
that's his name, Major 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 Major. So
It's like
1970.
Beetlejuice. Is he going to appear?
This next one, I love it, and I love the sequel. The 1977 movie The Rescuers, he voiced Bernard.
I didn't know that, but that makes so
the
much
mouse
sense.
movies. The mouse
Yes.
movie.
The mouse movies.
Yes.
Or is it a cat?
Yeah.
No, they were
Mouse.
mouse movies.
Mouse.
They were mouse.
Okay.
They were mice. Mouse. Mice. They were
Yes.
mice.
Rodents. They
He played opposite of Zsa Zsa Gabor in the second one, The
Yes.
Rescuers Down Under. Right? And that
Okay,
was,
that's just funny.
that was 1990. Yeah. It was hilarious because she was like the suave and then just loved his little meekness and everything. But he'd gotten a little bit better in that second movie. He wasn't just as naive. But to get back to his series, 142 episodes of the Bob Newhart Show 184 episodes of Newhart, at which at the end it was revealed to be a dream of the character from the previous show.
I think I never watched either one, but I did hear about that.
I remember watching some of them.
A lot of people thought it cheapened the series, and a lot of people just loved it because it's like the same character, because he doesn't play anything other than the same deadpan character that has kind of a stutter.
So well.
Yeah, he's great. I love it. And then 33 episodes of a series called Bob, believe it or not. He was in the 2003 movie Legally Blonde 2, Red, White, and Blonde. I forgot about that. 2003 movie Elf. So imagine playing opposite of Will.
He was in Elf.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
He was the
I remember
Papa
that.
Elf in that.
Yep.
And he was playing opposite of Will Ferrell. So that was really cool. 3 episodes of ER. I just threw that in there because he had played with Noah Wyle before. This in 2004. 3 episodes of Desperate Housewives. And that's saying something because that was a really big series for him to be able to come in and do 3 episodes of that. We're going to see him again. The 2 other movies, and he's in 3 episodes of the series, if we ever get to that.
Yep.
He was in the 2011 movie Horrible Bosses, which I've never seen, but I
never heard of it.
Knowing who is in Horrible Bosses, that was just funny that he was playing opposite of those guys. The big one for him was 6 episodes of Big Bang Theory, where he played an actor, Arthur Jeffries, a retired actor of one of Sheldon Cooper's childhood heroes, Captain Proton, Professor Proton.
I remember those. Those were funny because he played the same kind of deadpan guy. It was hilarious.
And 3 episodes of Young Shelton as Professor Proton. So he brought him back for that before he passed away. So Bob Newhart as Judson, Judson, by the way, is how you spell his
Judson.
Name.
I was thinking Jetson. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, the way you're saying it's like Jetson, but it's Judson.
Judson.
Judson. Yeah. He has been in a lot, and he has been in everybody's hearts because he's always played a great character. And to have him in this, in the same position that Saul Rubinek played in Warehouse 13.
Yeah.
It's like 2 opposites, but they both played the role really well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So him popping up on the TV screen or whatever screen at the same time could be the same thing as the Farnsworth.
Yep. It doesn't buzz. There is no buzz, but
except he wasn't cranky.
No, he was. His demeanor and his deadpanness, or his just politely pushing, like, you know, when they have to send Flynn off to find the sphere, he's like, "Well, no, you know, you can do this. It's fine." And Flynn's like, "So the fate of the world is in my hands." That's just sad.
It's one of my favorite scenes. It's like, that's just sad.
Well, he's like, this book is in the language of the birds. No one can decipher this. It took Egyptologists with the Rosetta Stone, 17 years to decipher it?
Very Daniel Jackson. Very Daniel Jackson.
You have considerably less time than that. You know, just deadpan, like, you have considerably less time than that.
Between all the sticky notes up on the airplane wall,
right?
And the shoveled clothing everywhere, and losing glasses and tripping on accident or sneezing on the time. Very Daniel Jackson.
I do have an issue with that, though. If you go back to Daniel Jackson in the movie, as he's deciphering everything, he's in a top secret facility. Matter of fact, when he makes a breakthrough, they immediately bring him down there and they say, "No, you can't talk about this." And then he actually solves the problem in a top secret facility way underneath the earth and not in public view at all, versus this guy doing it on a plane.
On an airplane.
With sticky notes everywhere that can be seen later.
It's supposed to be a secret. No one's supposed to know what you're talking about.
Nobody really knows what he's talking about, so.
Except you had a plane full of, like, the bad guys.
The Serpent Brotherhood, yes. Which reminded me, because they are the ones that use things for nefarious reasons, it reminded me of
National Treasure.
McPherson?
No, not McPherson.
No.
The other one. He would combine he combined the artifacts. That one.
Oh, that guy at the end.
Not. It was the one that changed the
y'all talking
warehouse to
about?
look.
Not
Huh?
Sykes.
Not Sykes.
Badger.
No, the
Badger.
other one that was from the 1100s.
Not Badger. The guy that Badger was working for. The bad Badger was working for.
Paracelsus?
Thank you,
Yes.
Peristalsis.
Well, I was waiting for y'all to complete a sentence. I'm like, what the hell y'all talking about? It's
Words are
yeah,
hard,
it's
okay?
With the guy with the stuff.
The thing
I'm like-
with the thing.
I felt like Mama on Warehouse 13. Do you realize you haven't completed a sentence? Yes.
Yes, words are hard, MK.
But yet I still completed it for you. Paracelsus.
Yes. So finish my thought then. The Serpent Brotherhood reminded me of Peristalsis and his group because they want to use all of the artifacts magic for evil and power.
I mean, Hydra in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., same
True.
kind of thing. I mean,
Sean Bean, National Treasure.
What did he say at the end? What is it with them using
evil organization names. I forget the exact quote.
What
but
were the
yeah.
organization names? That cracked me up. I forgot what it was though.
Back to the airplane. So they just open the door
and nothing affected the airplane
yeah, just do a slight decompress, but then like people
at 11,000 feet.
people were just watching the
People were just sitting there
fly by,
watching them fly by.
and there's no decompression, there's no bad
And
effects.
they
to
just
the
jump
airplane.
out.
No nothing.
It's fine.
No
But yet Kelly Hughes
fog.
like, wow, he's so great. He did
He's
it without
so
his
cool.
parachute. I'm like,
Yeah, there were a
Xena's
lot of
camp
bubble
would have
guppy
been better
moments.
than this. Come on.
Yeah,
And
I
Xena
have
was
some
camping.
factual things to talk
Although,
about.
it did crack me up when the Guardian, I can't remember her name. What was her name?
Guardian?
Anyway,
Nicole?
the Guardian.
No one?
Nicole. Yes.
No one?
Yes, Nicole, no one.
That they just
Trust no
left her
one.
badge
Yeah.
laying there on the floor of the Amazon.
When she sat next to him and she's like, let me just tell you something. I am so far out of your league that if your league exploded, I would not hear it for another 3 days. Okay? Let's just ponder that.
Yeah, she explored that league later on, didn't she?
Yeah, well, I think
it
that was part
exploded
of the
for sure.
I think that was part of the plan. So I have a quabble about that. But first, Sonia
Me too.
Walgart is British, I believe, and she has 59
Mhm.
acting credits since 1998. She was in the 1999 movie All the King's Men as Lady Francis. She was in the 2000 movie Einstein as Xena. Xena is Z-I-N-A. So is that pronounced the same way as Xena? I don't know.
Mm-mm.
I don't know,
Anyway.
but
Well,
you said
it's-
Xena.
It's the same. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it's the same Xena. It's the same type of name. It's just the TV show. It's Xena.
10 episodes of a series called Coupling, which was huge in the UK as Sally Harper. This is the only librarian's credits that she has. She was
I thought
in
you said something else.
she was in 5 episodes
That
of
would be huge anywhere.
she was in 5 episodes of Terminator: The Sarah Connor Chronicles as Michelle Dixon.
That's where I know her from.
I know
was
her
a good
from other
series.
things, but yeah, that's one. 15 episodes of Lost as
Oh.
Penelope Penny,
Oh, yeah.
Hume,
Yep.
Milton, Widmore, whatever you want.
Yep.
22 episodes of Flash Forward, which was okay. I think it
Didn't
was
see it.
canceled as Dr. Olivia Benford. And then what I really know her from, 18 episodes For All Mankind as Molly Cobb.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
No, but it's the same person that did Battlestar Galactica, Robert D. Moore, did this series for Apple TV Plus called For All Mankind. It starts out with the premise in 1969 that the Soviets get to the moon first. Instead of us getting to the moon, the Soviets get to the moon first. So Molly Cobb actually plays one of the first female astronauts. She's a badass in it and does some amazing
She's badass
things.
in this too.
Yeah. Well, she gets even better, but she has quite the IMDb and then a lot of other stuff that I was like, it's not genre stuff, but probably meant a lot to her. So yeah, Sally's been in a thing or two that is known after this.
So, question. Did she try to take the spear and was going to leave?
That's my problem.
And if not, how did the bad guys get her out of the room? Like, can you go wake her up so she can come out so we can kidnap her? What?
Her betrayal does not make any sense.
Yep.
Why? When you get to the scene where they meet Wild in the jungle, right? Wild in the wild, as I was going to say, but they meet him. She seemed genuinely surprised. Like, I saw your head get cut off. Now, it could have been the two of them acting very well.
Right.
But I got the sense that she was surprised. And then it turns out after everything that she was just going to steal the spear and give it back to them. And then she was treated like a prisoner. I'm like, this whole thing does not add up across the board. If you watch all the interactions of what she did along the way, and then afterwards, if she was a turncoat, they just let her be the guardian again to the librarian. That's a severe security problem. So that was my question.
Was it genuinely that she was betraying him?
Cahooting? He'd been cahooted.
That's how I took it.
Then it definitely didn't make any sense.
Exactly.
It didn't. That's where they lost that's where they lost the plot right there.
Oh, the plot was lost way before that. They mentioned...
I know that, but I'm just saying this particular part right here, I'm like, okay, but that really, now you're reaching. Now it's like sometimes, like we've talked about episodes before, where have you not watched anything else we've been doing? Have you not been watching the movie the entire time? And then now you're going to... It's like we brought in new writers. Like, she just slept with them, which that whole scene was a little weird to me.
Yes.
Well, she was doing that so that she could get access to the spear and take it. She was not...
but...
Right.
But then she wasn't with them at the end, so I don't know.
The whole flip-flop thing just didn't work.
It didn't make sense.
And I have some factual things. The first thing I will say is Kyle MacLachlan said, this is a 5,000-year-old dream. Okay, remember he said that in the hotel where the two other, like Kelly Hugh and Rhodes was there.
Mm-hmm.
But the Spear of Destiny was created by piercing Jesus on the cross, which was 2,000 years ago, not 5,000 years ago. So I'm like, what?
Maybe he can't do math.
Yeah, obviously can't. Let's talk about math, because they're talking about the Mayans and the calendar and the galaxy rotating around. They say 25,765 years.
You memorized the entire universe? Only the known universe.
That was funny. But it takes the sun 225 to 240 million years to rotate around the galaxy, not 25,000.
See, that's where that finally, after all this time of podcasting, our resident space nerd right there just kicked in.
Oh, and then also when they're in the chamber, which we haven't gotten to yet, but we're in the chamber trying to get across all this stuff. Remember the pit that the wall was?
Yeah.
And there was mirrors. All right.
Where were the mirrors?
Let me ask you guys this. I can't keep my bathroom mirror clean after about 2 weeks. The dust alone would have ruined
would fall on it.
Those mirrors in that chamber in the thousands of years.
Oh, look, there's dust.
Not if you were Mayan.
There.
They're magic. Not if you're Mayan. They're magic. They have like magic, no dusty mirrors.
And how was he walking through the Himalayas with just a jacket, but they never put on any extra layers? And you could see his t-shirt that he had on the entire time.
Well, and how did they do that without oxygen? How do they do it without oxygen? Like, aren't you going to get oxygen
and then
sickness?
You just magically come open to a clearing on the top of the Himalayan mountain. Snow's going everywhere, and then all of a sudden, sunshine and birds flying everywhere.
Well, that's where Shangri-La is. It's supposed to be like that.
But they're headed towards it with the helicopter, right? And they say, oh, we can't find it from the air. We need to land. So they land and they start climbing. And then once they get there, Kyle gets on the phone or on the radio and says, fly the helicopter up here and come pick me up. Why didn't they just fly the helicopter there from the beginning?
Because you couldn't find it from the
I'm telling you what, if that
air,
was me in a helicopter,
you had to read from the book. You had to read the symbols from the ground. That was one thing he said. You have to read the symbols from the ground. You can't fly to Shangri-La. But because he then had a signal there, he could get to there. But they didn't have a signal in the first place, so there was no way to fly up to it. You had to see the symbols on your way up.
And then the monks are just going to let them tickle Buddha's belly? No, I don't think so.
Oh, the head monk. Did you guys recognize the head monk?
I did, but I don't know from where.
Okay.
Yeah, hang on. Magnum PI.
You know what? I did not write that down. Oh, I think it is. I think it is one of these. Let me go.
Oh, that makes sense.
319 acting credits. So he's done a lot, but it's all onesie twosie, and he never got any awards. So he got his start around 1974. He was in Airport 1975, which was the second in the Airport series. You guys probably don't know any of this. It was a disaster series. There was Airport 1975, and Airport 1980, I think, where they went underwater. It got progressively even just nuts at the end. Yeah, but this one was a good one. It was about a 747 that collided with a prop plane in a storm, and the stewardess had to land the plane, and they had some guy drop in from a C-130 basically into the cockpit. It was Charlton Heston. So it was a big movie when it came out, and he played a passenger in that. So not a big role, but he was in that. He was in the 1976 movie Midway, which was huge when it came out.
Yeah.
He was in an episode of Black Sheep Squadron, and this is all onesie twosie, which is, he never really got a leading role. He was always typecast, but he always did really well, and he never got an award. So one episode of The Rockford Files, 3 episodes of All in the Family. Did you guys ever hear that or watch that?
I remember that.
Heard of it.
All in the Family, yeah.
Never watched it, though.
He played Reverend Chong for 3 episodes in that. I don't remember him from that, but just that in his filmography.
I don't either, but I remember the show.
Yeah. He was in 2 episodes of Quincy M.E. I think it's Quincy M.D. No, it's M.E. because he was the medical examiner.
Examiner.
2 episodes of Knox Landing, 2 episodes of Lou Grant, 4 episodes of MASH.
I watched
He was in MASH. I think I remember those episodes. That's probably where I know his face.
Different characters, I think, for each episode, but he was in 4 separate episodes of MASH. 2 episodes of Simon and Simon, if you remember that series.
I do. Maybe that's where I've seen him. I want to say he was in a cop series.
1 episode of Cagney and Lacey.
Well, there you go.
He was never in a lot of episodes, always onesie twosie sorts of stuff. He was in Cagney and Lacey, 1 episode of Dallas, 1 episode of Remington Steele.
Oh, okay.
1 episode of The Fall Guy.
I remember that show.
1 episode of Trapper John,
Amazing.
MD. 2 episodes of MacGyver, the good one.
With Richard Dean Anderson.
I don't
know.
Now I get into series that I've watched.
I liked the other one too.
Naming all these series of things that people's been on. I'm like, I've heard of these, but now you're mentioning him. I'm like, I watched almost every one of these shows.
Yeah. 1 episode of Alf. Remember Alf?
Alf. Oh my gosh, I loved Alf.
Hide your cats.
Cats, yes.
Yes, cats. 2 episodes of Dynasty.
Knots Landing and Dynasty religiously with my mom.
Yeah. 1 episode of LA Law. That's where we get the
Shatner?
good doctor that replaced Beverly Crusher for a season. She came from LA Law.
Pulaski.
Yeah, Pulaski.
Pulaski.
See the look. See the look on my face. See the look
Yes,
on my
I
face?
did. That's why I was like, Pulaski.
In LA Law, if you have never seen this, you probably get a chuckle out of it.
Uh-oh. That's not me, right?
Yeah, for you. She would.
Okay.
She left LA Law by walking into an open elevator shaft without an elevator there. The doors open, no elevator. She just walked in, and that's how she left the series.
That's a horrible way to go. And then she ended up on the starship.
Yeah.
Which writer did she piss off?
I think she wanted to leave for a reason.
But damn.
Yeah, I know. Where are we? 1 episode of The Facts of Life.
Oh my goodness.
8 episodes of Magnum PI. The first one.
I knew it. Look at it. I knew it. Tom Selleck. I'm sitting here waiting. I'm like, okay, waiting. Yeah. I'm like, and didn't I say it before you started?
Yes, you did.
You did.
There's more. One episode of Who's the Boss?
Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
Yep.
The 1989 movie Turner and Hooch. I think he played the partner in Turner and Hooch, but I can't remember for sure. But he played with Tom Hanks. Right? 3 episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation as Admiral Nakamura, seasons 2 and 7.
That's why I know his face.
He's the one that isn't that the one where he ate the alien or ate the little?
No. He was in season 7.
He played himself. He was in Starfleet.
Admiral Nakamura.
Yeah. Yep. I remember. That's why I know his face. It was Star Trek Next Generation. Well, and Magnum PI.
I'm just saying, I showed my age right there. I knew Magnum PI.
Right.
Was it the stash? Was
The
it the
mustache?
No, it was the little bitty dude next to Tom Selleck.
Yeah, right. The 1998 movie Godzilla, he played the Japanese tanker skipper in that. I'm not a big Godzilla guy, but I know that movie was big, so I'm just throwing it out there. He was in the 1999 movie American Pie as the English teacher. So,
as the English teacher, that's funny.
Yeah. 1 episode of The West Wing, 2 episodes of Ally McBeal, single white lawyer, series. Right? 1 episode of Malcolm in the Middle, and I've been waiting for this one. 2 episodes of Jag.
No?
I think he was a naval captain.
Probably. I don't have his character. I just threw it out there. This is the only of the Librarians credit he has, so we'll not see him again. But he was in 1 episode of Charmed, the good one, not the bad one. 1 episode of ER and 1 episode of Chuck. So he's been in a lot for a lot of years. And I just want to give credit to him because even though his part was small as the head monk, he's so remarkable. He's been in a lot of stuff that we've all seen.
His face is the first thing I recognize, yeah.
Yeah. So Clyde Kuzatu, I think is how you pronounce his name. And yeah, he's got a lot of cred in my book in Hollywood just because he's been in so much.
Yeah. So, to get back for a second, why are all these monks going to let this traveling band of idiots come into there and tickle the belly of Buddha? I mean, why would they just sit there and watch them do this?
Because they don't know how to get it. They're like, yeah, we're just here to watch it.
Because they have guns?
It's true.
Well, and it had been foretold that they were coming there for centuries. So it had been foretold on that day that they would be arriving. I don't think they knew what was going to happen, but they knew that they had to let whatever was going to happen. And I liked that Flynn figured out the name of God. Me. Because he lives in all of us. It's like only the biggest riddle that's been, hard to figure out for millions of years. No one's been able to figure that out.
So Shannon, I have some more questions for you. So we'll rewind a little bit. And the first question I have is, remember the wanted pages in the newspaper? Because that was what Flynn was, he had all those red circles and everything on the floor as he was getting the invitation.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember the wanted pages?
Mm-hmm.
I remember him sitting there. I don't remember what he was looking at. And then everything fell on his head.
So I think that's lost now, because if you're watching this movie straight up today, you and you're younger, you have no idea what the wanted pages were. And that's what he was. He was looking for a job because he just got kicked out of school.
That's not
he didn't reapply for 6 months.
Pages.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, true.
Or a rotary phone.
And because you have a security background, let me ask you this. From a security standpoint, is placing the library in the middle of one of the world's biggest metropolitan areas a wise choice?
Well, they have a lot of security for it, so.
What was the question?
From a security standpoint, is placing this library in the middle of one of the biggest cities on the planet a really good idea?
It depends on how well secured they are. Obviously not that well, because you should be changing your tactics. If you've let somebody go or if you fire them, you need to change the passwords.
Well,
but
they
they
did
were,
think he died.
I mean, I don't know, was Cheyenne Mountain a great place? Because they were underneath everything. So this is supposed to be underneath the city. Now,
It's underneath
Yes.
the library, yeah.
if the librarian is like anything like the warehouse, you would think it'd have its own security.
It kind of does.
The warehouse was alive.
I think the
bet
library
you
is
smell
alive too.
apples here.
I don't know if you smell apples though. Or fudge.
So the next movies, they're like this then, right? So he's becoming more comfortable with this character,
Right.
more with him
Yes.
being the main librarian, and then he gets a team. Are we going to watch the next one?
Yes.
Yeah, we're watching the next two movies. In the movies, I don't believe he gets a team. I can't remember. I haven't watched the other two for a little while, but I don't think he gets a team in the next two movies. But you do learn more about him and why the library chose him.
So does the series start after the third movie?
Yes.
Yes.
And then it just picks up. How many seasons is the show?
I want to say
I don't
5.
remember. I think it was 5.
And that's
I don't
that's
remember.
a lot because again, that was back when real TV was on real TV and not streaming. So if you get past the third season, now you're in syndication and you have to pay the actors more.
Yeah,
so
and
that was a very rare thing.
We did fight very hard to try to keep it
There's only 42 episodes and it was 4 seasons, not 5.
4
so
seasons.
My bad. And Noah Wiley's in about half of them at 23.
Yes.
Who were the? I keep saying it because she's the only one I've seen in commercials. Rebecca
Rebecca
Stamos.
Romaine. Yeah.
Yeah, she's the guardian in the TV series.
Okay.
She's the guardian. It's really good. I loved it. And the characters that they had were really good. And I've watched the first episode of the new one. I haven't watched the second episode yet. But the first
What new
episode
one?
of the new one, the new librarians, the next chapter. It's
So
The
they've
new
come
one.
out with another series.
Yeah, he's been working on it for a while and he was trying to find a place to house it and produce it.
Who's he?
And he had the CW for a while that wanted it, and then because that's where he had the Outpost, and then CW
Where-
was like,
who's
"Meh."
he? Is that Devlin?
Dean Devlin.
Okay.
Sorry, Dean Devlin. And then CW dropped it, and TNT said, "War Game, we've liked your movies, we liked your TV series, so it's on TNT right now." I have to watch the second episode. The problem was it's on after some sporting events. I can't remember which ones. So I had to set my DVR to record like 60 minutes afterwards because they never start right when they're supposed to, because the sporting events then have like the after talk that they have to talk about the stupid sports. I'm not a sports person. Sorry if I offend people who love their sports.
That's one
But,
good thing about Apple TV is YouTube TV, not Apple TV. YouTube TV is the DVR will automatically adjust for that, which
I don't have YouTube.
I know, but it's been working for me. So
Sasha recorded the AMAs the other day.
some of the actors in the original series, Rebecca Romaine, of course, Christian Kane, Lindy Booth, John
Mhm.
Kim, John Larroquette, which I can guess
Yeah.
who he played, and Max Headroom himself, Matt Frewer. We've talked
Yep.
about him before. He's in a few episodes.
Yep. It
So,
was so good.
yeah.
It was so good.
Rachel Nichols from Continuum
Yep.
is in
I
there.
saw her on there. I was like, hey, I know
Yeah.
you.
Vanessa Williams. So there are some nice actors in the series if we ever get there. I don't know if we will or not. There might be other series that we pick instead. Shannon, I do have another question for you.
What you got?
Shoot.
What is your favorite flavor of Thorazine? Have you ever tried the vanilla Thorazine?
That was such a funny line.
No. What part was that at?
At the
Or what were they
beginning,
eating?
Charlene,
Nothing.
Jane Curtin's character, was talking to Noah Wiley as he was saying, let's just call the police. And they're like, yeah, go ahead. Sure. They're going to lock you up. I hear
Tell
that
them about the
Thorazine-
Ark of the Covenant or the goose that lays the golden egg. And you'll be in the funny farm. I hear Thorazine comes in, what was it?
Vanilla.
Vanilla flavor now.
No, but I do like the fruity things that makes you get high.
Okay. Let's move on to another question. Do you or do you not need an assigned parking place before you get assigned an evil conspiracy?
It would be nice to have some kind of, establishment, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Here's a book that you don't know anything about, that you don't know how to read. You got to learn on the fly. And good hunting, right?
Yep. All right.
Yeah.
I got some more questions.
'Kay.
Shannon.
Okay.
Can you kill a man 57 different ways?
That was so good.
I'm not that talented, no.
Okay.
I know a couple.
But the Guardian is.
I know a couple.
Like, what do you like to do for fun? I can kill a man 52 ways. 57 ways. 57 different ways. Or I like...
You really only need to know one.
When he gets knocked down by the branch that she lets go, and he goes, "Oh, new plant species." And he's like collecting samples of everything. And he's like, "If you're nice, I'll name it after you." She's like, "Oh, be still my heart." He looks at it and goes, "Ficus narcissus." And he's just
Next
like in his like own little world. He's collecting samples. I have a question. When they jump over, they jump into the water, and he's sitting there swimming. They're going over waterfalls and everything.
The book getting wet.
How did the book and all of the things in his bag not float away? And then he literally
takes his
dumps
bag and he drips all the
the
water.
and nothing falls out. It has got to be
Maybe
like,
it's a magic book that doesn't get wet.
it is Artie's bag. It's Artie's bag.
Maybe.
It's magic because it did come from the library. So it has to be, I am going to
It
say,
came from a file cabinet that she handed him.
it comes from the library. I am going to say it's a magic bag. And when you put
Like Mary Poppins.
artifacts from the library in it, nothing can happen to them, and
How
they
did
stay
they
in the bag.
survive the waterfall? That would kill anybody. And it's not necessarily going over the waterfall. It's once you get down there, you're going to be
Get the
held
rocks.
under and tumbled like a rip
And then they
current.
went off a second one.
Yeah. So no,
She's like, "Don't worry, I got you." How do you got me? You're floating too.
yeah, I just and the hokey CGI for the parachute drop, the helicopters flying.
Well, limited budget.
So again,
Limited
this
budget.
is a TV series, not a
I know,
theatrical.
but yeah, okay, fair.
Limited budget TV series
But Flynn is
in
Noah
2004.
Noah Wiley is flying the helicopter, and both his hands are on the stick. That's not how you fly a helicopter. You need one hand on the collective because it's got
Oh
the
my
throttle
God.
and the pitch of the rotors on there, and then you've got the stick and the pedals. You got to use everything.
It's
That's a high
amazing to
velocity
me.
pie of death.
With as much bubble guppies as this particular movie had, I can only imagine what the next two is going to be. It amazes me how, with so many bubble guppies, we got a TV series out of this.
And it's a good TV series.
And then they're like, you know what? Scratch that part 2. Let's do Warehouse 13, which was so much better.
It was somebody
still.
else, though. It was a different concept. It was
Right.
like,
Somebody watched it and said, "I'm going to still just do this."
what was that
I
secondary
wonder if
series?
it was somebody that was on Dean's staff or something that was like, "Oh, I have a great idea for a series."
Jane Epson.
Hollywood for a while had this thing where one production company would do something and another production company would do it a slightly different way, like Armageddon. And I'm trying to remember the name of that
Deep
other
Impact.
film. Deep Impact.
I remember when those came out in the movie theater, and I was like, "These are the same movie,
Done completely different ways.
done
But yeah,
completely different ways, but it's the same movie."
I think one of the reasons why this got a lot of notoriety was the actors. And we haven't gone over all of them, but let me ask you one question. Who do you think had the most Emmy Awards on this cast?
Emmy Awards.
Emmy Awards. Who do you think
Oh.
had the most Emmy Awards?
Olympia Dukakis.
No. We'll talk about her in a second. Emmy, not Oscar.
I don't know what Emmys are.
Emmy is TV.
Mm.
Noah.
Not Bob Newhart.
Noah Wiley had 5 nominations and no wins.
Oh, that's a tragedy.
Yeah, Bob Newhart had 5 and had 1 win. And his win, by the way, was a 2013 appearance on Big Bang Theory.
Oh, pff.
What about the bad guy?
Kyle MacLachlan,
Mm-hmm.
2 nominations, no awards.
I got nothing.
So it's a nobody that we know that we don't know of that got in it.
Who is it?
Tell us.
Jane Curtin. She won the Outstanding Lead Actress in a Comedy Series, Kate and Allie, in both 1984 and 1985. And she
Who
has
was
a
she in
total
this
of
one?
5. She was Charlene.
She was in the TV series. She
Oh.
played Newhart's assistant. Deadpan.
She's the one that was that. No, when he came and
She was the one interviewing.
when he came and he's like, "Oh, you're 7:01. You're a minute late. You'll have to dock your own pay." But I brought coffee. She's like, "I hate a kiss ass,"
And she took
and then
the
takes
coffee.
the coffee anyway.
She has 64 acting credits since I think way back to 80 something, or is it 70 something? Hold on a second. Her
Probably
very
70s.
first acting credit, her very first, was an episode of The Love Boat in 1977.
No way.
Yes.
The Love Boat.
The Love
oh
Boat.
my gosh.
An episode of The Love Boat. And so
Oh my
The
gosh.
Love Boat, they just bring on a lot of guest characters.
They had a lot of guest stars on it. Yep.
And she was a nobody and she got on there. So there you go. But a lot of people know her from Saturday Night Live. She was in the 1983 TV movie called The Coneheads. And
Oh yeah, she was in the Coneheads.
Yeah, she played the wife.
She
Yeah.
was the wife.
Yep. She had 122 episodes of Kate and Allie. She played Allie Barkley or Lowell, basically, divorcee. That series was based on 2 divorced women that were trying to raise family together. I
Mhm.
don't think they were together. I'm trying to remember the series. I think they were just 2 women
I
trying
doubt
to get through. The 1993 movie Coneheads, which was in the theater, not the TV movie, 138 episodes of Third Rock from the Sun.
Yes, she was. I didn't really watch much of that, but I did watch a couple episodes of that. She was the wife.
So she
Mhm.
was well known for her comedic thing, which makes the whole
Yeah,
beginning
which makes-
season.
Did you save your receipts? She's all about the
She
receipts.
just smiled one time in this.
All right. So follow on question. You ready?
Mm.
The question is, who had an Oscar on the cast?
On an Oscar?
Yeah, who won an Oscar on this cast? We just went over the Emmy nominees. Who won an Oscar?
No idea. Now is it Olympia Dukakis?
Olympia Dukakis. In 1998, she won the Best Actress in a Supporting Role for a movie called Moonstruck. Now, she passed away in 2021, but she has a total of 89 acting credits, and it's amazing. She played a lot of moms. So she played...
She's definitely got the mom type.
I remember her the most still Magnolias. I've seen that movie so many times. So every time she would open her mouth in this series, I expected to hear that southern drawl that she had in the movie Still Magnolia. That was a great character.
She played Dustin Hoffman's mom in John and Mary, which is a 1969 film. She played Cher's mother in Moonstruck. She played the mom
That's
figure
what I
in a
remember.
lot of stuff. She was in Look Who's Talking. She played the mom there. Look Who's Talking 2 and Look Who's Talking Now. She was in all 3 of those.
She did. Those were
Look
funny.
who's talking.
She was in Naked Gun
Kirstie
33 and
Alley.
a third, The Final Insult. She was in Mr. Holland's Opus, which is an amazing film that I need to go back and
she does.
watch.
That was a good film.
You guys probably don't remember this at all, but it was pretty marquee when it came out. It was a TV movie, but it was a 1998 movie called The Pentagon Wars, and it had Kelsey Grammer in there, and the guy who's in The Princess Bride, I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Carrie Ellis.
Which one? Carrie Ellis?
Yeah. And she was also in Charlie's War in 2003. So she's been in a lot, and she did win an Oscar, but she passed away in 2021. So Margie Carson is no longer with us. But yes, she won an Oscar and was part of this cast, and they cast her there for a reason. Now, we've talked about Kelly Hu before on her appearance on Warehouse 13, but she has a history of action movies.
Mm-hmm.
Scorpion King, X-Men
Scorpion.
X2. She played Deathstrike,
Mhm.
Army Wives. She was China White in Arrow for 13 episodes.
Army Wives.
And then we talked about the Orville 8 episodes as well. So seeing her younger, 20 years younger on this was really cool.
And it was funny.
Yeah.
She's the only one wearing like a cutoff shirt. Like, really? You're the only one that's wearing
too many mosquitoes. I can't picture her in Army Wives.
Yeah, I have never watched it, so I can't do, but I'm a fan of her. I'm a fan of all of her work. It's amazing. And I had no idea who I was watching when Arrow came on. I podcasted on Arrow, of course, every single episode of Arrow for way too long. But
I'm sorry.
China White was always a good character there. I have another quabble on this. There's just way too much gun cocking in this.
I'm like, how many times you got to load it? Right?
Every
you already
time.
have one in the chamber.
I know.
There's no more room. There's no more room. Dude, either shoot it or put it away. Put it away.
We missed out on an epic fight between Kyle MacLachlan and Bob Newhart. Those two should have fought each other because they knew each other.
Yeah.
Right? So
you know
we
who
missed
he
out on
reminds
that.
me of?
He was so funny the way he was fighting. Anybody else want a piece of me?
Did you see his expressions? I assumed it was the stuntman. It wasn't. They didn't have any stuntman. It was him. His expressions are priceless in that
I know.
fight.
It was awesome. It was awesome.
You know who Kyle MacLachlan reminds me of?
What's that?
When the girls made me watch the Barbie movie, and I'm like,
Oh, I haven't seen that.
oh,
Me
the
neither.
entire time, right? He reminds me of Ken, like when he smiles.
Ken is Simu Liu. Isn't Ken Simu Liu? Isn't Ken the guy who played in the 10 Rings movie?
I don't know. I didn't watch it.
You. I was trying not to watch the Barbie movie that we were in the theater for, but that's like he smiles like Max Headroom, like right?
Ryan Gosling. I'm sorry.
Ryan Gosling, yeah.
Oh yeah, that was just bad.
I think he
just
was
as
in
bad.
there, wasn't he?
I don't know.
Yeah, he played Ken.
Never did I want to choke about popcorn more than the movie in that one.
He played an alternate Ken. That's what I'm getting messed up. I haven't seen the movie, so sorry about that.
Don't.
I mean, there are people that really loved it. I have not seen it yet, so I cannot
the
pass
girls.
judgment.
And I'm like,
I'm a girl.
can I just go wait for you in the bathroom? Just let me know. Just come down when you're done. No, Mom, you gotta say, like, can I chuckle popcorn now? Okay.
So I don't know about you guys. I bought the movie on Amazon Prime because I didn't want to deal with commercials. I'm assuming you guys watched it with commercials, right?
I watched it with commercials, yep.
Okay. Apparently, the original version is 92 minutes long, but the current version, at least that I saw, because I bought it, was 105 minutes long. So I don't know which version you guys saw.
Why did you have to buy it on Prime if it was free?
Because I didn't want to watch commercials.
He didn't want the commercials.
I didn't have time.
Didn't pay for it. So there weren't that
I
many
didn't
in
either.
there.
I literally did not have time. I needed to get through it several times and I couldn't speed it up. So whatever. But the extended scenes include his walkthrough of the library for the first time. I guess that was missing in the original.
Were these like, if you bought it, you got these extended scenes?
No, this is the 105-minute version. So if you watch the 105-minute version, you've seen them. And there is Nicole and Flynn at the hotel. We talked about that. So in the original, you did not get that. So I don't know how they got from...
No, that was in the
original.
When I watched it on TV, the first time I saw it on TV, that scene was there.
So you must have saw a 105-minute version because the 92-minute version didn't have that.
Oh,
so also,
that's weird.
The flight from Shangri-La in the helicopter was not in the 92-minute movie.
Really? So. You didn't get that without the commercial version? In your non-commercial version?
No, I did.
Oh.
I'm saying that wasn't in the 92-minute version.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, I watched that.
Take the commercials out of it. There are two versions, a 92-minute and 105. You can watch both of them with or without commercials, I guess.
Okay.
But I don't know where you can get the 92-minute version. It was the original airing of it. So
that's weird because I remember those scenes.
From the original?
The original, yeah.
Did you see it multiple times?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in the very first time, it didn't have it in it. That's
weird because I remember them.
It's trivia for the episode.
Well, cool. but
All right.
I remember seeing them. So
Do you guys have a
I don't know.
favorite scene?
I don't know. I like a lot of it.
Mhm.
Anything that
Oh,
was
I do.
funny.
I
Okay,
do.
Yes.
what is it?
Whenever she called, whenever the mom called and the
Oh,
girl answered, and she's like, "A woman answered the phone," and she's all hugging her friends in their living room.
a girl answered with my son's phone, and she's like ecstatic.
Uh-huh.
I mean I just love
Which
the whole
means your son
movie.
got some for the first time.
That was fun.
That's what that means.
I enjoy every time that he would pop up on a screen, just
Okay.
popping up to see what he's doing. I enjoyed. Ooh, did you guys? I just noticed this at the end. I don't know if you noticed it. Okay, when they are in the Mayan treasure and getting the first part of the spear, Flynn picks up a piece of Mayan treasure and it looks like just a little head, right? And it looks like he puts it down. But at the end, around his mom's neck is a necklace of that exact same piece he picked up. I just noticed that.
Maybe
I
he
was
put
like,
it in his
"Hey."
bag.
He took that. But I think some of my favorite scenes were probably the two of them being deadpan together or something like that, them walking through the forest and he's trying to get information out of him or information out of his guardian. And she's like, look, I don't need to know about you. You don't need to know about me. Me brains, you brawn.
Which, if she's the double agent all along, that scene just doesn't play the next time you watch it.
I
It's
know,
like,
but you know what? I don't care. The end of it where she's like,
I do.
Why are you smiling? I don't like it when you're smiling. She's like, there are ninjas after us and they're time traveling ninjas after us. With
But
HG's
it still
time
doesn't
machine.
make sense. If she's a double agent, but yet he's with her at the end, is she still a double agent? Because he
I
doesn't
don't know.
have enough brains to figure all the rest of it out.
So that scene that is either in or out, right? With them in the
Mhm.
hotel, they have sex. We saw it. We didn't see the sex, but we saw them, get together.
Thank God for that.
I don't know. I like her, but if you take that scene out, then she doesn't flip, right? And then he's just looking for her. And then that scene at the end makes a little bit more sense where she's a captive,
Mm-hmm.
right? So with that
And
scene
why he
in,
still likes her.
I think what they're trying to say is, or they wanted to portray is they got together. And that's the only scene that they got together. They filmed that makes any sense in anything. And unfortunately, that gives the plot hole that we are all stuck on because of that. So anyway,
Did you have a favorite scene?
I did. I had 3 of them picked out because, of course, I have to have backups for you guys. I did
In
like
case
the
we
fate
take
in the
them.
world is my hands. That's so sad because
Yeah.
that'd be like me. Like, oh, the world is depending on me. We're in so much trouble.
Oh, bro.
Yeah. Bob Newhart fighting at the end.
Oh,
I
that
actually
was so good.
thought it was a stuntman. So I'm like, okay, who played his stuntman? And the answer came back. He didn't have a stunt person. It
That's
was
so
like,
amazing.
They all did their
Slowly
own
holding
stunts.
them by their throat.
Including Bob. That was great. And his facial expressions are just so wild.
Yeah.
I'm like, that is not Bob. That's got to be a stuntman. It's not. So that was another one. But I think I'm going to go with the jetpack scene that
That was good.
The
Noah
unicorn.
Flynn got 3 hours instead
It
of
only took you
4.
3 hours instead of 4. Congratulations.
The second time I saw Bob looking at his watch, and I'm like, oh, that is just laying it in there. Like, okay, how long did it take you? It was 3 hours. So that's my favorite.
I mean, it was just, and it was funny for him, just like, it only took you 3 hours. Congratulations. I'm like, congratulations.
Who feeds a unicorn?
Oh,
Maybe it's the apple.
I've got a
Jenkins
question
Jensen
about that whole
does.
thing. So only librarians are let in there, right?
Well, and those two.
And the,
Right.
Right.
So only those people are let into
and
the
the
library.
snake people.
Well, because they broke in.
True.
So my question is things like who feeds the unicorn or who cleans, because the place has to be dusty. Like, who?
It's
Unicorn
magic.
poop has to be everywhere.
That's magic. Unicorns don't
Public.
poop.
So
They poop ice cream.
we're gonna stick
Don't you
with
know
our.
that?
We're gonna have to stick with our saying that we always say it's bubble guppies because it doesn't make
I mean,
sense.
you could say the same thing about the warehouse. Who cleans up all the dust in the warehouse?
Right.
They do. They all have chores. They all have to do the chores.
Well, then they probably all have chores in the library.
I can see Micah doing it, but Pete ain't gonna be dusting everything as they go.
No. Pete will be playing ping pong with himself.
Ping pong. I wonder how big the manual is for this one. He
Ooh.
needs a Micah.
Yeah, he is the Micah.
That's sad.
He's the Micah and the Pete.
He's the Micah and the Pete.
He's definitely the Pete.
He is touching everything, right?
He does. He touches everything. Like, wow, that's a great replica. That's not a replica.
Wait, he starts licking things.
Don't touch that. You'll get electrocuted.
Was it worth it, Shannon?
I thought it was pretty good. Like I said, it took me the whole thing at the beginning with him being in the what was it, class? What
It was a
he in?
pyramid. Yeah, it was class. It was a pyramid that they were creating for that class. Yeah.
It took me about 20 minutes before I perked up and said, "Okay, let's see what this is," because it was about that long before he got let into.
Mhm. Well, they had to
you
build it
know,
up. I mean,
It,
it's the
it
same
caught
with
my
Warehouse
interest
13.
whenever they were waiting in the long stairwell up to interview.
Mhm.
I'm like, what? I'm like, there's no way I would have enough patience to wait for all you people just for you to be yelling at me.
Yeah,
No.
I thought of you. And I'm like, and then
My mouth would get me in trouble and it would echo everywhere. But yeah, so I'm interested in the next one.
Okay.
I find campiness hard to get through though.
well, you did get through Xena with all its campiness.
I know, but when I try to go back and watch Xena now, I'm like, what was I thinking?
I know there's some
Except, you know-
stuff that I loved when I was younger that I just can't watch anymore. I'm like, I used to watch this? Really?
There used to be a show that do you remember Witchy Poo? What was the name of the show that she was on? Witchy Poo. Right,
I don't know
Carolyn,
what you're talking about.
art. There was it was
It
a
was a
live
cartoon?
action cartoons like the Bugaloos and H&R Puff and Stuff.
I don't
Come
think I
on.
saw that one.
Oh my God. Yes, you have.
No, I don't think I,
I watched
did.
it when look it up, HSP, H&R Puff and Stuff.
I don't think I saw that one.
And it had Witchy Poo. And then
Oh my
there
God,
was shows
no.
called the
I did not see this.
Bugaloos, Sigmund and the Sea Monster.
I will say that the main animated character, whatever, it looks like the Hamburglar or something.
The kid's a big apple in his mouth. Carolyn, seriously, you don't remember those?
No, I don't remember
We're
that
the
one.
same age. Where were you at?
Not watching that, apparently.
Yeah, I wouldn't watch this. Yeah.
Yeah, someone was high
Not
on
my
something when
thing.
they created that.
Someone very high.
I used to cry. My mom used to tell me that I used to cry when I couldn't watch a show called The Bugaloos. So back in the 70s, they had all these Sigmund and something. Sigmund and the Sea Monster, right? So it was just these made for television, Marty Croft kind of cartoon stuff.
Hmm.
I mean, but they were live action. They weren't actually cartoons, but
Yeah.
that was things that I look back now. I'm like, why did you let me watch this?
This was actually on the air in 1969 through 1970. So you definitely saw it in reruns because you weren't even alive when this came out.
Yeah. Nope.
Yeah, I did not watch it. All right.
What did you, was it worth it, SP?
Near the end, I would say I got through it. I think because of the gravitas of the actors involved. Like, I don't know if a lot of them were really, other than Olivia Dukakis, who, by the way, is the cousin of Michael Dukakis, who ran for president in 1988.
Yeah.
I was thinking, ooh, is she his wife? No, the cousin, but
Cousin.
still related, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
I was in junior high when that happened.
I think the rest of them, Bob Newhart was well known at the time. I think the rest of them were kind of mid-career or early career, but they all did really cool stuff. And I think that got me through, like the Bubba Guppy stuff that we were talking about, the poor CGI. I mean, did you catch the Stargate like CGI with the circular blue column?
Yes,
with the lights
I did. I
going?
totally thought of
And then, of course,
Stargate.
the pyramid fell on them.
Yes, squish like grape, smoosh.
Yeah, so I think
But there was like Stargate references there.
no, I mean,
Well, I mean, it was Egyptian. There was that. That's
Well,
Stargate.
that's true. That's true. I was waiting for the Jaffa to come down.
I think Noah Wiley took a tact for this that I don't think was 100% appropriate, but I went with it just because I'm like, okay, we'll see how this defaults, because you don't get a second or third movie. You don't get a series without having something to it. So I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, let's see where this goes. There's a lot of firsts that don't pan out. Like the warehouse, like Shannon, you were saying before, the Warehouse 13 pilot is like flat. For you, Micah, she's stiff as a board for a reason, right?
It took a couple episodes for you to even like that character. Like, I don't know why I'm watching this. I don't like her. This is not going to be what for me. And then you start getting into it, right? I'm
Right.
hoping
Yep.
that for the next movie, I'm like, okay, I'm into this groove. It's going to be campy. I expect it. Let's go.
I mean, the second episode of Warehouse 13, I think, was on the bottom of my list at the end of the day because, you know, I ranked all 64 episodes.
I
I
don't
think
even remember the second episode.
it was Resonance. And yeah, I'm pretty
Resonance?
sure.
Resonance.
Was that the one they were getting the cone? No, the cone was the first episode, right? Where they had to get the hairbrush, the cone that stuck into them whenever the car flipped.
I think so. Pete and Mike are sent
I
to
think-
Chicago to investigate a series of odd bank robberies. During the investigation, they have a run-in with Bonnie
That's
Belsky.
the second episode, right?
Yeah.
And then just get the blonde chick from BSG. Right. Yeah, she was the main bank robber person.
Yeah.
So the first episode of Warehouse 13 is when they were going after the woman that was using the hair cone. The hair cone that
Yes.
when they wrecked it stabbed Pete's side.
Yes.
Yeah. So those first couple of episodes, I wasn't
They were
really
campy
into
and
it.
hard. But
They were campy, but they got better.
They will get better. It's definitely going to get better. You just have to give it a moment.
I'm just looking at it. So out of the first 6 episodes, 5 of them are on my bottom 5. And I think the
Mhm.
other one isn't. I think it's because it's Claudia, if I'm not mistaken. That's why it's higher. So next time we'll be watching the next movie in this series, The Librarian: Return to King Solomon's Mines. The Amazon Prime Video description reads: an adventurer and a brilliant archaeologist use a map to search for the fabled mines of King Solomon. I will remind everybody that if you are enjoying this bonus content of the Warehouse 13 Fancast, you can catch us on our email at warehouse13fancast@gmail.com. That's warehouse, the numbers 13 fancast@gmail.com. Let us know how you like The Librarians or how you're liking this bonus content. And just to let everybody know, we are going to continue with the third movie as well. And that might be it for Artie's Addict. And we might be rekindling a new show, but we will see after that. In the meantime, you do get 2 more bonus episodes for us. So until next time, I'm still the janitor, SP.
I'm still sci-fi girl.
I'm still Ocean 363. I think I gotta go feed the unicorn and clean out her stall.
I gotta go find H.G. Wells' time machine.
Watch out for the
Yeah.
ninjas.
I'm gonna try the rocket booster or whatever the pack he was wearing. That's what she should have been traveling through the Amazon with.
Thanks for joining us for an episode of the Artie's Attic Warehouse 13 fan cast. You can find all our episodes at warehouse13fancast.com. If you'd like to contact us, you can hit us up on our email at warehouse13fancast@gmail.com. We are a part of the Lone Wolf Podcast Network. You can hear more of this cast and other shows like it by checking out lonewolfpodcasts.com. The intro music is Sci-Fi Hybrid Intro by Soundmake, and the outro music is Science Fiction by Tunes to Go. Both were purchased on pond5.com.
Did y'all know that Katie Sackhoff has her own podcast?
Yes.
I didn't know that until this past weekend. I was like,
I think I've mentioned it before.
you might have brain
Might
injury.
have.
I don't know. I don't remember.
It's okay.
It's okay.
You have an excuse.